Welcome back to the program. You're watching Breakfast at Dawn, and we were quickly talking about other things while we were off camera, but now to come back to it, Barrister, I'd like for you to respond to what the professor was saying.
Yes, I think that was a tremendous vision by which Pakistan came into being. The whole object was to fight and to set up a state that did not believe in discrimination. The whole two-nation theory came as a result of the fact that we were considered the untouchables, worse than the untouchables, that we were discriminated against. And Quaid-e-Azam constantly repeated this, that we are a people who have struggled against discrimination, and so we will establish a state where there will be no discrimination, where he says we will start with the fundamental principle. This is the 11th August speech, that we are all equal citizens of the state. And I think that was the most important basic factor, the fundamental factor for Pakistan. And with it he said, your vision is to work, work and work. Again, he's talking again about private effort. You're talking about every citizen's effort to build the state. So he's talking about the private sector. But when, as Shariful Mujahid Sahab said correctly, that when he talked to those in the private sector who had the advantage of investment, he's also talking to them about a sense of social responsibility towards those whom you employ to work with you. So you're seeing a large vista of ideas coming in, which are talking about the private sector development, which are enhancing private sector image, adding to it a sense of social responsibility. The state to that extent is minimal in its intrusion, in its interference, and it's allowing a market to grow. It's allowing, and that's why you saw that during his period, suddenly we had only one small investment in Karachi called Dalmia Cement at that time. We had one or two factories all over. But you see how the Quaid-e-Azam's move towards the private sector is so powerful that you eventually find that they move into Pakistan and start investing. A whole series of Muslims.
If I may just interrupt you right there, I just want to point out that we're showing the change of guard ceremony. Right now you can see that as well from live from the Quaid's mausoleum. So that's what's on your screen right now. Sorry,
oh,
please
wonderful.
Continue.
So no, that was the spirit. The spirit was to get involved. The spirit was to build Pakistan. The spirit was to defend Pakistan. He was addressing not only the private sector, he was addressing the government servants, he was addressing the armed forces. We had very small little armed forces, but you can imagine the tremendous spirit with which they came and opted for Pakistan and came here, knowing that they've got a huge struggle ahead to stabilize the state. And knowing also that there is a huge force that did not want to accept the coming of Pakistan, still resisted the idea and was hoping that it would not succeed. So you can imagine the kind of barriers that they were facing, the psychological, the moral, the political, the various barriers. And in spite of that, Pakistan came to stay, as he said. And this is the 62nd year we are still here. And we are going to be here. We are going to go on, because that's the spirit of the people.
That's
by
right.
which actually who supported the Quaid-e-Azam, who were behind the Quaid-e-Azam. He was just the symbol of the teeming, the aspirations of the teeming millions of Muslims of India who were hoping for a better life away from discrimination. So he symbolizes a huge human rights struggle that occurred in a constitutional manner and succeeded in getting a state.
But if, Professor, you've examined the role of Jinnah in the creation of Pakistan very closely. Would you agree with what the barrister is saying?
I think I agree 100%, you see, because while he was struggling to establish a state, you see, his first job was to gather all the Muslims, you see, on the Muslim League's platform under the canopy of Pakistan. You see, as you know, Muslims were a disparate group, a fortuitous group, you see, fighting with each other, you see, and there were cleavages, regional, linguistic, racial, and other cleavages. He had to overcome all that, and that is why he used Islam as the cultural metaphor, because the common denominator that could unite all these people on one platform without being united and galvanized. He could put forth the claim that the Muslim League was the sole or the authoritative Muslim body. And only on that basis he could negotiate both with the Congress, Indian National Congress, and with the British government. So he said, you see, after all, this is a nation without a territory. First get the territory, then you can have time for squabbles, for fighting out how to run it at all. The first job was to get the territory. You see, you remember Ghana much later, I think 15 years later, he said, Nkrumah, Ghana's Nkrumah, get the political kingdom, everything will be added unto you.
And
you
that's
see?
the very,
It was an improvisation
wisdom
of the biblical dictum.
Right.
Get the kingdom of God.
If I may, we need to go over to the Qais Mausoleum where our correspondent Mubin Nasir is standing by. Our correspondents are all over Pakistan to bring you live updates to show you how Pakistan is celebrating Independence Day today. We'll start with Mubin Nasir. Mubin, can you tell us about the change of guard ceremony? Mubin Nasir is with us. I'm afraid I can't hear him. All right, well, we'll try and get Mubin Nasir, but just to show you that on your screen right now is a change of guard ceremony. And it's quite the grand occasion, Barrister. What do you think?
Beautiful.
Yes.
Absolutely beautiful occasion. Every
That's
year,
really fabulous.
it's tremendous. The way they pay tribute is so beautiful. And especially when you see their white uniforms, you know, that's a beautiful sight.
That's right, on the marble. Yeah.
And the impact it has on the
Yes,
nation
yes.
as a whole.
Quite
After all,
right.
they are citizens in uniform. They are citizens, and the way they pay tribute, and they're part of the youth. They're the young soldiers, and sometimes it's the army, sometimes the air force, sometimes the
And
navy.
Navy.
And that's that crispness in them, that sense of dedication, tribute to their leader, to their history, to their past.
And I think right
Tremendous.
now, I mean, Pakistanis need these kinds of symbols. Okay, let's try Mubin Nasir once again. Mubin, are you with us? Can you tell us about the change of guard ceremony? We've been talking about it. We'd like to hear what you are seeing over there.
A couple of moments ago, the national anthem, the playing of the national anthem took place. The changing of the guard is taking place right now, and the Pakistan Navy sailors are giving over charge to the Pakistan Navy cadets. This ceremony is right now being presided over by the Commodore Ayaz Nasir, who is the commandant of the Naval Academy. You can see him there receiving the guards, and just in a few moments now, the Pakistan Navy cadets will formally take up their positions on the outer periphery of the mausoleum. After that, during the course of the day, we are also expecting to see various political figures and other dignitaries visiting the Mazar to pay their tribute to Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, starting with the governor and the chief minister, who are expected here shortly.
All right, that's Mubin Nasir there, our correspondent, who was describing to us the change of guard ceremony as he is at the Quaid's Mausoleum right now. We're going to take a very quick break, but we are going to come back and talk some more to our guests. A little bit of history and a little bit of the present. Some self-reflection is in order here on Independence Day. Take a quick break, but do stay with us on Breakfast at Dawn.